We're on the phone today with John Merchant. He is the singer for the band Ghosts of Sunset, and they have a new album out. It's called Breathe. John, how's it going today?
I'm good, brother. How are you?
I'm doing well. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Oh, you betcha, man. Thank you for having me.
Well, first of all, can you tell us a bit about your band, Ghosts of Sunset, maybe for the listeners who haven't discovered you guys yet?
Yeah, Ghosts of Sunset started as a project between myself and my partner, Todd Long. We've known each other since high school, played music together, toured together for about 30 years. I was out on a run one day and I had an idea about a concept album based on sort of that behind the music story about a band that leaves their small hometown and goes out and tries to make it in 1980s, Sunset Strip, kind of the hair band thing. And we did this concept EP for Golden Robot Records called Headed West, and that sort of started the ball rolling with Ghost of Sunset. So, we continue writing. We still have that 80s, what we'll call hair metal, for lack of better terminology, influence, but have kind of opened the thing up to more of our musical influences as we go along.
Awesome. Yeah, I love that you guys are paying homage to that kind of classic sound from the 80s. I grew up with that stuff. It's fun to see that style really kind of having a resurgence now.
Well, I'll tell you, and then as we all know, fans of that music, and certainly those who performed it know, in the 1990s, things got pretty grim for that style of music. It had fallen so far out of vogue because it had gotten so bloated and sort of overdone when other styles of music such as the Seattle sound and stuff came through. So it is nice to see it kind of having a resurgence. And I will say, if you take away the poofy hair and the makeup and all of that, I think the resurgence is a testament to the fact that there were catchy, well-written songs in there. Sometimes they were buried under a lot of lipstick and face makeup, but really those anthems and those great songs still exist.
Yeah, it is interesting. I think a lot of those bands, maybe they weren't taken seriously because of the makeup and the spandex. But as you mentioned, if you kind of chip all that away, there were some really great songs that came out of that era.
Yeah, for sure. And I like to say a lot too, yes, there was the poofy hair and the spandex and the big videos and the girls dancing on the hoods of cars and things. But, when you're in your own car or in your home or in a concert hall, whatever that might be, those things don't exist. It's those big catchy choruses and the sing along, the good vibe, all of that stuff, or even, the big emotional power ballads of the time. Those are songs. The poofy hair, the spandex, the girls dancing on the hoods, that doesn't sustain you as long as this music has persevered. I think that's based on good songs.
Definitely. And Ghosts of Sunset have the new album out, Breathe. What are we in for with the new album?
I think with Breathe, we still have that, like you mentioned, the homage to that 1980s Sunset Strip kind of hair metal, again, for lack of a better word. But we opened up our influences run fairly deep from classic, from the roots of rock and roll, Little Richard, Elvis Presley, Chuck Berry, things like that, into the 60s. I'm a big fan of all the 60s stuff, the Doors, Buffalo Springfield, the Byrds, the West Coast kind of stuff, certainly into, your Led Zeppelin, Rolling Stones, Doors, et cetera, et cetera. So we're kind of, and all the way into, on Breathe, you'll hear stuff that's 80s new wave style. It's done with a harder edge, but there's definitely music on there that owes as much to the Cars and Cheap Trick and Berlin and the Sex Pistols and Hanoi Rocks and, the Sweet, all that stuff, right up to the, to that 80s stuff we've spoken about already. We try to keep the door open for anything that, any place we find influence and a good song, we're always going to let that in. You know what I mean?
John, can you talk a bit about the recording process? I read you guys pretty much did the entire album basically through the mail. I know that's something that definitely wasn't happening back in the day.
Yeah, we've been really blessed. Technology, it's a double-edged sword, I think. It's allowed us, I'm in Michigan where my partner Todd and I both grew up. My buddy Todd, his wife is in the Coast Guard, so she's an officer in the Coast Guard, so they travel a lot, and they live in different locations, and they're in Florida now. They started in Alaska, believe it or not. So we started our record when Todd lived in Alaska and finished it when he moved to Florida. And it's, it's file sharing. We video chat. We both have pretty well-stocked working recording studios in our homes. So we've been blessed. Technology has allowed us to keep creating together and expand Ghost of Sunset. Again, something is lost, I think, when you're not sharing space together, creative space in a physical environment. But we really have been blessed with the ability to keep making music together and moving Ghost of Sunset and sharing the band with like-minded people and music fans who have, pretty deep tastes and can appreciate the level of influence that they hear in that music.
And I know on the last album, No Saints in the City, you guys had a lot of guests that were on the album playing with you. Who's playing with you this time around? Do you have anybody maybe popping up besides the two of you?
Todd and I did the bulk of the playing the instruments. Todd plays drums, bass, guitar. I play guitar, sing, write the lyrics and melodies. We did have a guest guitarist come in. We used a lot of guest guitarists on No Saints in the City. This time we used one. A guy named Ricky Dover Jr., who plays in a band called Tuck Smith and the Restless Hearts. If you haven't checked them out, please do so. He plays on 3 tracks. We did have some guests who came in and played some horns for us. So there is a saxophone solo on a song on Breathe. There's horn section. Our buddy Brian Roth, who's a producer, Grammy-nominated producer, played some piano for us. Patrick Kennison, who is Lita Ford's right-hand man right now and had a band called Heaven Below. He did some harmony vocals for us, but the bulk of the work was shouldered by Todd and I this time, and we're happy with the results.
Awesome. Well, I got to ask you, are you guys going to be playing any shows maybe this year or doing maybe some local stuff? I know you guys are apart still, but will you get back together maybe and tour a little bit? That's the $1 million question for us. And it always comes down to the two things, availability as far as time goes, because we are living, adult lives here, and money. We would have to pay to put a band behind us and go out and tour. We did a lot of touring in our past. We did the van and the sleeping on people's floors and, 14-hour drives and that sort of thing. Where we're at now, we're always open to playing live. It would be limited stuff. It might be acoustic duo stuff. It might just be one-offs, radio shows and things like that. We're always looking toward live appearances, but again, it's got to make sense. Where we're at in our careers now, we really have to, work as smart as we can. So, but we would never say no, or never say never, playing live at some point. Awesome. Well, John, I know, again, the new album, Breathe, is just out. Is there something else maybe you guys have coming up or anything else we should be looking out for?
Well, right now we're just promoting. We're just starting the kind of promotion cycle for Breathe. We've released one single called Afterthought that's doing well for us. Looking forward to maybe some more single releases. And believe it or not, we're already working on the follow-up to Breathe. We have one song in the can. We recorded a song recently for a tribute album that I can't really talk much about, but we're hoping that's going to come to fruition too. And we're always working, always trying to create. We've been really lucky with Ghost of Sunset. We have reached a fan base that, I always say it's like having people over to your house to listen to records. It's just, it just happens to be that these are songs we made up, but we share them and enjoy them with people. Just like we would any other music that moves us and we get excited about. So we've been really blessed to find a great audience, and we keep, the goal is always to keep expanding it and keep connecting with people, because I think right now, more than anything in this world, we need connection. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. Well, John, I appreciate you connecting with me here, and thank you so much for your time. And the new album sounds great. And hopefully if you guys hit the road here, maybe I'll speak with you again sometime down the road.
I'd really appreciate it, and I'd appreciate your time and all your effort on our behalf. If there's anything I can do for you, Dustin, down the road, you shoot me a message. We'll make it happen, okay?
All right, sounds good. Thanks a lot, man.
Hey, thank you, brother.
And again, that was John Merchant from the band Ghosts of Sunset, and their new album, Breathe, is available now.